Here's my Xpress H20 aluminum walkthrough, showing storage, layout, rigging options, and top speed for a H20 Xpress Bass review of the boat. Let's dive in. Let me show you around the boat. So in terms of storage, you have the big rod locker, you've got the center tackle storage, and another big storage over here. You can see I loaded a bunch of rods in here already, and plenty of room for all that. So this is a 7.5 foot flipping stick right here. You can see I can push this thing. Like, see how far up that is? How much space you have? You could easily fit, I mean, like a 9-foot rod in here. And see here on the trolling motor, you look, 7.5 foot rod fits really easily on the port side. Then switching to the starboard side, you can see, standing on the trolling motor again, plenty of space up here. Then if you look at the storage, you can see the starboard side here, one big storage box. I mean, that's a tripod there. You can see it's pretty long, swallows up a lot of gear. They're deep. Tackle box and stuff down here. I mean, it's a lot of space and storage. Then you get a big center box as well. These are big backpacks I have in here. You can see how deep that is. Really deep storage on both sides. So the first thing you see at the front of the boat, I went with the duck camo. I mean, they make some really pretty looking, you know, just like fiberglass kind of bass boat look. I like the duck camo. It blends in. I ran a wrap boat for years. I'm glad I don't have a wrap boat anymore. I'm not going with stickers, and kind of like it. Just blends in with the surroundings. I think the duck camo is great. And then it has a sea deck. You know, I've had years of boat carpet. I mean, that stuff, it's like the stuff you'd never put in your house. You know, aluminum boats tend to make a lot of noise when you're walking around. This is pretty quiet. You can hear my steps here. It's not like I'm thumping on the bottom. Now, if I drop my pliers, the fish are probably going to hear it. But that's nice and quiet, and it's cushy. The other thing you notice up front here, it's 93-inch beam. It's pretty wide. You're going to get a little bit of rock back and forth. I walk from one side to the other, but it's not crazy here. So your fishing partner's walking around back there. It's pretty stable. Then if we go up front, you can see I went with 2 graphs. The top one, it's a 12-inch screen. That's the Garmin Live Scope system. I want to have that access, and I can switch it over to perspective mode if I want really easily. I just flip the transducer over. And then I just went with the 9-inch screen down below it. This is the Echo Map 2. I use it for maps, basically. All I'm looking at up front is my mapping, and then it has downside, everything else. So all I want to do, if I'm fishing shallow, all I want to know is my depth and look at the map. And then if I'm fishing out deep, I have Live Scope to look at that and chase those fish around as well. You can see the guys over at Ships did a nice job installing this. They use a Bass Boat technology mount, and this thing gets those up higher. Plenty of room for your foot to run it and not get in the way. But then the Live Scope is actually raised up almost a foot, so you can see it really easily. So the trolling motor is something I'm really excited about. This is the Force. It's that brushless 36-volt trolling motor. You can go with a lot lighter one. This actually works on 24 volts, so you could go with the smaller one. I want power to go against current, fight the wind, go way into backwaters, pull through weeds and stuff. This thing is an animal. On 36, this thing is an absolute animal. We've got up to 90%. Let's put it at 100% power. I mean, it'll throw you out of the boat. Look at that. This, with a full gas tank, it's going over 4.5 miles an hour. This thing will haul butt. Nice thing about the aluminum, it's so lightweight. You know, I can go 4.5 miles an hour, really cover water if you were looking for bedfish, something crazy like that, or you're just trying to get across a cove to skip to the other side. But man, you can run it at 20% power. This thing, all day power. It's so easy moving it around. It's effortless with that Force. So I do love the huge trolling motor. I do like the plier holders up front. You move back to the console. You have a few more right here. And then you see the console one with that duck theme. I like it. It just blends in. People aren't going to be spotting you all the way across the lake. Not a huge windshield, but it's not blocking visibility. You see the graphs like not in your way there. So the seats are a new design. You can see their camo as well. They're big and comfy. And then underneath the seats, you have storage. So I put, you know, my tools, the throw cushion, extra life jackets, all that good stuff. See, the cushioning's big on that. These are nice and soft. You just got to keep your fishing partner from stepping on them. That's why they have the step here. The third one, you get the C-deck seat. Hopefully your partner actually steps on that instead of putting his muddy boots on your seat, but good luck with that. They have a handy dandy rod ramp on the side there. Then you see at the console, it's pretty clean and simple. You have your basic gauges here, power pole anchors, ignition, basic gauges. I went ahead and put the trim and the jack plate switches right here on the steering wheel. That way you can hang on. And then went with the hot foot as well. That way you can have two hands on the wheel and adjust, do the fine tuning, and hang on for the ride. And then at the console, I went with one 10-inch screen. These quick keys on the Garmin Echo Maps, you can quickly go from one setting to another. So I have my map and all my key stuff for when I'm running around. When I want to graph, I want to look in more detail, I've got side. I can go to a bigger map if I want. And then I also wired it into the Yamaha so I can see my engine hours, all my critical things, my fuel flow, my miles per gallon, all that stuff right here on my screen. That's something I really love about the Garmin. You can quickly just go from one screen to the next. So instead of having to have two screens here, I've got one when I'm running. And then if I want to graph, I go to a different one. And like I said, I want to peek at the engine, see what's going on exactly, see any error codes and stuff, all right here just with the click of a button. And you can set these up any way you want it, so whatever screens you save those. Moving to the back, this is where the work gets done. More storage here, a couple boxes. These are slick where they have the built-in trays for your planos to slide right in there. See, there's a nice big live well behind the seats. You can keep it big if you want to just keep it if you're fishing as a team or by yourself. And then there's a divider if you want to split it up for a co-angler. Then when you look in the bilge area, you can see most of these boats have just tiny little areas that are hard to get back there and work on it. This has a huge lid. You can see I have 3 batteries. I have 2 36-volt trolling motor batteries. I've got 1 cranking battery. Got my 2 power pole pumps over here. 36-gallon fuel tank. MillerTech battery charger built right in there too. So the batteries are probably one with overkill here. We'll see how this works out during the season. I just never want the day where I'm fishing a 16-hour day from dark to dark in the middle of summer up north and my batteries die, the trolling motor batteries. These are 36-volt batteries. There's 2 of them. They're 60 amp hours each. I don't think I'm going to need them, but I would rather have extra battery than not have enough. And the nice thing about the lithiums, they don't weigh that much, so I'm not worried about that. They have a 10-year warranty, so I've got peace of mind there that if anything happens, that I'm good. And the fact that I have 2 of them, if one ever did go bad, I've got a backup. So to me, having a second trolling motor battery is not a necessity. It's definitely a luxury, but I love having that. Then it's a little hard to see the cranking battery right there, but that's a MillerTech, a 12-volt, 190 amp hour cranking battery. It's a lithium, so it doesn't weigh very much, but 190, like a lot of guys will put somewhere around 100 amp hour cranking battery. This is like having 2 batteries in one. So it's got the 10-year warranty. I'm set for a decade. And with 190 amp hours on that, I know that I can run live scope, all 3 of my graphs, run all my electronics and stuff all day, not have to worry about it. And then, of course, I have the MillerTech charger as well. The nice thing about that, I plug it in. It's one charger. It does the 36-volt trolling motor batteries and the cranking battery, the 12-volt one. Plug in one, takes care of it. I can look at it via Bluetooth on my phone, make sure it's charging, see where the batteries are at, even if I'm sitting inside my cabin and I'm somewhere close to the boat. And then pushing this thing, we've got a Yamaha 175 horsepower in the back and 2 Power Pole Pro Series 2 motors. Plus we have the light on top to make it super easy for us because we're lazy. Now the thing that everybody always worries about in aluminum boats is just weight. And if I asked you how much you thought these power poles weighed, I think most people are going to say like 50, 60 pounds. They have this image that they're like concrete blocks back there. Well, guess what? The Power Pole Series, the Pro Series 2, weighs 17 pounds each. When you put the pumps in, it's 26 pounds. That includes the oil and all the hydraulic fluid and all that stuff. The pumps go in here, so you balance that on the transom. With 2 of these, I have 34 pounds hanging off the bat. That's not going to make a difference in my performance. The nice thing about the Pro Series 2, they dropped the price on them. They're considerably less, like a couple $100 cheaper than they used to be. And the power poles are so convenient. If you love to fish shallow, I mean, you bed fish, you flip stuff, you want to launch the boat and stuff. Man, I'm trying to go back to the basics, but the power poles are like the basics to me anymore. I have to have my power poles on there. And it's just, it makes you that much better. You catch a fish in the wind up shallow. If you don't drop them, you drift across it. Man, there is no way in the world I was not going to have power poles on a boat. So as nice as the anchor lock is on the trolling motor and stuff, to me, it's a luxury that you have to have. You're going to fish shallow. You have to have the power poles. Time to fire it up and run around a little bit. Still in break-in in the second hour. I can actually run around at mid-speed. You can see a little bit of the turning. We're going to try to get it past the break-in point where we can let it rip, see what she does. These aluminums are so light. One of the best things about them is the hole shot. I've got a full 36-gallon tank right now, and the motor's still in break-in, so I can't even hammer on the throttle. But just giving a little bit. Right up she goes. Not even a problem. So you're getting 7 miles per gallon, which is pretty good in a boat when you're going almost 30 miles per hour. I mean, see, it handles pretty well. I mean, it's actually, I turned tighter corners than I could in my fiberglass bass boat. So it handles really well. I'm pleased with that. Obviously, the whole shot's great. Nice thing that I liked about this boat, too, I found out that Xpress has the #1 selling 20-foot pad-style aluminum bay boat. So basically, that tells you, I've not had it in big water yet. I've heard from my buddies that it takes rough water well. But the fact that the salty guys will go offshore and go bang around, obviously, it's capable of handling some pretty good chop and rough seas. So I like to hear that. And the other thing that Xpress, what really drew me to them, it was the first all welded aluminum hull. Rivets, you know, they'll hold, but over time they can crack, they can leak, they just don't hold up as well. My brother used to have an aluminum boat. Man, that thing, the console and stuff, it would just shake loose when he hit waves. This is all welded. I know it's solid. And the nice thing is about aluminum, if it breaks, if you put it over a stump or a rock or something like that, tear it up, you can weld it. I don't think you want to try that with fiberglass. It's a lot cheaper to fix it. All right, we finally got past break-in. It's time to go let it rip. All right, well, she get after it. You know, that was, we couldn't even move up the jack plate. This has a 10-inch setback on a hydraulic jack plate. I have a TH Marine one back there, Atlas. And it hit the rev limiter like really easily without me raising the jack plate. The engine was all the way down, and I could hit the rev limiter like 6,000 RPMs. I looked down, I think the fastest we went was like 58.6. Obviously, don't want to blow the motor, but there's obviously more there. When you raise the jack plate, obviously you're going to pick up a couple hundred RPM. I can easily turn a bigger pitch prop. Excuse me. Have some gear in here, and I have 36 gallons of fuel. We've burnt 4, so we're at 32 gallons of fuel right now. So it's a full tank. So I feel like I can easily go a bigger pitch prop. And the fact that we're hitting the rev limiter and hitting almost 60 right now. Yamaha tested it in the summertime with 2 people in there, a half tank of gas, and they got 60 miles an hour, a legit 60. That's not rigged. That's no BS. That's an actual 60. And the fact that we're hitting it right now, with that smaller prop, man, that's pretty impressive. Obviously, when you dial it in, you can get a few more miles per hour. But this is definitely a 60 mile per hour boat. you know, maybe ring 62 out of it. Maybe it's 61.3, maybe it's 63.6, whatever. When you're going 60 miles an hour, to me, that's scooting. And the fact that I can get just cruising around like 7 miles per gallon is really good. I mean, that's way more than what you're going to get in a regular boat. So you can cruise around at grandpa speed and not have to fill up very often, or you can let it rip on tournament day and people look at you and say, how the hell is that aluminum boat going past me? So, fun little boat to drive. So first impressions, she's definitely a bass boat. Pretty happy with the purchase. She's all bright, shiny, new right now. All I gotta do now is get a bunch of fish slime on it, take it all over the place, get in that muddy water way back in the upper end of those lakes, push back in there. So hope you like seeing her clean today, because that's probably gonna be a few days till you see her that bright and shiny again. But yeah, she's a bass boat. Most definitely a bass boat. Pretty excited. Gonna be a fun season.